Catus Maximus here, this time with a review of some of these cable clamps, these ratcheting cable management clamps. These things are kind of one of those products that you think are pretty cheesy. They're always just a couple dollars in the store, and actually I found these things to be quite handy. Out of all the different methods, such as Velcro straps, etc., zip ties, bag ties, or twist ties, these have always been kind of convenient because you can wire up, whatever from your computer, stereo, or even just holding together extension cords. And these things are just real convenient because you just pull a little lever here, and then they just have ratchet teeth, and they actually are pretty big, so they do hold pretty securely. And thankfully, all of them use a metal screw in the hinge pin right where it's weakest, so that I haven't had many issues. I've had one break, but that was under pretty severe stress. So I've always found these handy. You have quite a bit of range, and you can cinch them up pretty good. They have a variety of sizes from these little ones. I do like the color code the sizes. Little white ones, a bigger red, even a bigger yellow, and then they call this the Mega Cuff, which is funny. This has a warning. It has a choking hazard on it and not to clamp on any part of your body. So you probably don't want to try to, apprehend criminals with this type of cuff. I just think it's hilarious they had that kind of warning. I can understand a choking hazard. Maybe a kid might get this, may eat the end of this. But otherwise, this is a pretty big clamp, and it's, would be pretty hard for anything to choke on these, much less a child. What I also have noticed here is that the giant one has a hole, and this yellow one also has a mounting hole just so you can, I'm not exactly sure whether you want to attach zip ties to it or maybe attach it to a wall so you can just use it to clamp things in a fixed position. I always thought that was kind of interesting that just the larger sizes had this extra provision here. Generally speaking, I've had pretty good luck with these, although I really wish they would, instead of just making these, that was pretty loud, I should say, just making these out of ABS. It's a reasonably durable plastic, but it would be nice if they had heavy-duty ones that were like fiberglass reinforced nylon, same type of material power tools are made out of, and maybe a heavier-duty hinge, because they could be pretty useful in a variety of situations, particularly maybe construction workers, for tying up extension cords, because that would be pretty easy to have, or pretty handy just to have the extension cord, and these will work just fine with extension cords. I just worry about things like using them on extension cords and then the cords just being thrown on the concrete floors and this thing breaking. Really, it's not so much the ratcheting part, that's pretty heavy duty, but I would worry about the hinge. But it is pretty handy just to take an extension cord, have this thing on it. You can even carry it via this, hang it by this, and it tends to keep it pretty well organized. And also, you can adjust the size so that the ends won't fall through this. And I thought that's just a great way. You can coil up the cord, put one of these clamps on it, and then it really doesn't get tangled. And always keeps it manageable. The only other thing that I could mention is that the ratchet mechanism is pretty decent, but it is just a cutout piece of plastic, and so all the stress from you lifting up the ratchet is placed right here. So I could see over pulling this or this getting hit and potentially damaging the spring, or I should say just the plastic portion right here where it gets stressed. That would be the other concern. Otherwise, these things have actually been pretty handy, and I've always kind of liked them. And have found that they're really surprisingly convenient, just because at least they have good ergonomics where they have this little finger hook, so it's pretty easy to get a hold of them and open them up. That, and they were smart enough to put really oversized ratchet teeth, so I've never had a problem with these slipping or popping out a tooth at all. I'm sure that these will physically break before they ever slip on a ratchet tooth. Anyway, there weren't many reviews of these, although I seem to see these in a lot of different stores, so I just wanted to put my 2 cents in there. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody watching and everybody who has subscribed. And if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to the Catus Maximus channel. Until next time, Catus Maximus out.